task one right. I want to show you how to write reports on data-based charts. How to what? How to write reports on data-based charts. That is the title that I'm giving to this class. And this is academic task one, okay? So for people who are taking IELTS academic, you will be expected to do two things. Number one, you will write an essay. We call it task two essay. And number two, you are going to write a report. Okay? You will write an essay and then you will write a what? You will write a report. We've already addressed the issue of essay during one of our classes. This class is focused on the report aspect. Now, for the reports, there are 7 types of reports that they can ask you to write. Okay? 7 types of reports. 7 types of reports. Okay, what are they? Number one is called process charts report. I call it process chart report. Number two is map reports. Number three is line graph reports. Number four is bar chart reports. Number five is pie chart report. Number six is table report. And then the last one is combination chart reports. Okay? So these are the 7 types of reports that IELTS examiners usually give to candidates. Somebody says, will they bring everything out? No, it's not possible. They can't give you everything. They can only give you one. They can only give you one. So it's either they give you process charts to write on, or they give you a map, or they give you a line graph, or they give you a bar chart, or they give you a pie chart, or they give you a table, or they give you something we call combination chart. Okay? So when you look at this list from number 3 to number 7, number 3 report to number 7 report, I call them database charts. Line graph is a database chart. Bar chart is a database chart. Pie chart is a database chart. Table is a database chart. Combination chart is also a database chart. So when I say I'm teaching you how to write database charts, how to write reports on database charts, I am focusing on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what I'm focusing on during this class. I hope you guys are following me. So the first thing I want to quickly give an overview of, some of you already know this, but let me just do an overview, is that there are 7 types of reports. And of these 7 types of reports, 5 of them are called data-based charts. Any one of these 7 can come out. Okay? Now, the second thing I want to bring out is that a good report should have 3 components. What are the 3 components? Number one is, hold on. Let me even ask. Let me see who has been following my classes. Let me see who participated in our previous class. What are the 3 components of a good task 1 report? A good task 1 report. I want you to type in the Zoom chat. Let me know if you know the 3 components, the 3 parts, the 3 components of a good task 1 report. Who can tell me? I want you to type in the Zoom chat. I want you to type your answer. The 3 components of a good task 1 report. What are they? What are they? Type them. Type the first one, type the second one, type the third one. Let me see. Let me see who's going to get it right. I'm waiting. I'm waiting, you guys. Who wants to give me the answer? Who wants to give me the answer? 3 components of a good task 1 report. Thank you very much. Introduction. That's the first thing. Introduction. The second thing is overview. Overview. And the third thing is what? Main body. Okay? The introduction, the what? The overview, and the main body. These are the 3 components of a good task 1 report. Some people, the reason why it's good to understand these 3 components is this. Some people would tell me that I don't understand reports. I don't understand how to write task 1. I don't understand task 1. Task 1 is giving me problem. When you say things like that, it is too generalized. So you need to ask yourself, which part are you having problems with? Are you having problems with how to write introduction? Or are you having problems with how to write the overview? Or are you having problems with how to write the main body? Okay? So you need to be sure. So let me ask all of you that you are watching, that you are participating in this class today. Which of these three components usually gives you problem when it comes to academic task one? Is it the introduction, or is it the overview, or is it the main body? Somebody say, or is it everything? It can't be everything. Please don't let it be everything. I want you to type in the chat box. Which one gives you problem? Which one gives you headache? Yeah, some people say headache. That thing gives me headache. I don't like it. I don't like it. Which one gives you problem? Okay, somebody says main body. Okay, I like that. That's very specific. I love that. Okay, another person says main body. Okay, so I'm asking because I want to know what you guys are dealing with so that we know what to focus more on. But anyhow, I'll still touch on introduction and overview. So you must be able to write a good introduction. After your introduction, you move on to the what? To the overview, and then you move on to the main body. Now, your report can have two paragraphs or three paragraphs, or in rare cases, you can have four paragraphs. Okay, but do not write a one paragraph report. Avoid one paragraph report at all costs. Okay, do not write a word, a report that has just one paragraph. Make sure that your report is broken into paragraphs, two or three or four. Very, very, that's the third thing I want to bring out. Now, let's look at the reports that I have here. So I'm going to be using some examples here to show you how to write a good task one report. Let's start with this. So what I'll do is I'll write introduction for all of them. I'll write overview for all of them, and then I'll write main body for all of them. I'm going to move very, very fast, very, very fast, but I want you to follow closely. At the same time, I'm not going to be too fast for you to, grab what I'm talking about. I'll try and make sure I'm as clear as possible. Now, this is a what? This is a line graph report. Here we have something about regional household recycling rates. So look at the question prompt here. This part that I'm putting in color here is called the question prompt. Okay? This is the question. Excuse me. This is the question prompt. The line graph below shows the household recycling rates in three different countries between 2005 and 2015. So how do we write our introduction? So let me write the introduction here. For the introduction, what are the things that we do? You paraphrase the question prompt. What is the question prompt? This part that we have here is called the question prompt. So I'm going to write what is here, but I'm going to change some things. So I will say that word. Let me paraphrase the question prompt so that you will see it. The line graph, let me make this a little bit bigger, presents. Can you see I've paraphrased something? I've paraphrased shows. Instead of saying shows, I'm saying present. Present the household. Okay, let me not use household. Presents the recycling rates of homes in. Can you see that the way I've paraphrased household? Instead of saying household, I changed it to homes, and then I did some rearrangement. I did not say home recycling rates. Home recycling rate sounds awkward to me. I prefer the recycling rates in homes. Okay? The recycling rates in homes in three different countries in 2005. Sorry, between, or instead of saying between, I can say over how many years do we have here? This looks like 10 years to me, either 10 years or 11 years. Over a 10-year period from 2005 to 2015. Full stop. What have I done in this introduction? I have paraphrased the question prompt. That's number one. Number two, I have presented the main issue. What is the main issue? Household recycling rates in three countries. Household recycling rates. That is the word. That is the main issue. So your introduction must paraphrase the question prompt. It must present the main issue that is represented on that chart. Okay? You must present what? The data, you must present the what? The main issue. You must present the what? You must paraphrase the question prompt, and then you must also present the time covered. You can see the time is here, 2005 to 2015. Okay? Then you must present the categories. When we say categories, we are talking about, in this case now, categories here represent countries. So I need to write a sentence, a new sentence to show what the countries are. The countries are Germany, France, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. Anytime I see United Kingdom on a graph or chart, I usually like to write it last because of this the United Kingdom. So this is my introduction, two-sentence introduction, okay? Two-sentence introduction. Some people do one-sentence introduction. If you want to do a one-sentence introduction, yeah, let me show you how. Let me show you what the one-sentence introduction will look like. The line graph presents the household recycling rates in Germany, France, and the United Kingdom over a period of 10 years from 2005 to 2015. Okay? This is a one-sentence introduction. There's a formula that I usually use for one-sentence introduction. The what followed by the where followed by the when. This is the formula. This is the order. This is how you arrange it if you want to write a one-sentence introduction. This is the order for one-sentence introduction. Okay? Please keep that in mind. But so this is one sentence. Let me remove it. So introduction, straightforward. Okay, let me still leave it. I will delete it later. Let me move to the next chart. Let's write introduction for this. This is a bar chart question. Follow this. We follow the same pattern. Okay, the same pattern is what we are going to follow here. Okay, what do? I'll paraphrase my question prompt. Okay, the bar charts show, instead of saying shows, I'm going to say illustrate this time around. The bar charts illustrates the contributions of how many sectors? 3 sectors. Okay, I did not copy out the sectors. Okay, the sectors are here. Agriculture, okay. The contributions of what? The contributions of contributions of 3 sectors to the gross domestic product of India from 1960 to 2000. Full stop. The sectors are as follows. Instead of saying the sectors are agriculture, industry, services, I want to change the format and I use a colon. In this situation, this is how we use colon. You say the sectors are as follows, and then you put your colon, and then you list the sectors: agriculture, industry, and services. That's my introduction. Very straightforward. Can you see two-sentence introduction? I personally prefer two-sentence introduction because it makes your work neater. That's what I've noticed. Reduces the risk of vocabulary errors and cohesion errors. Now let's look at this one. Let's write introduction for this one. The bar chart depicts, let me use the word depict here. Can you see the way I'm doing paraphrasing? I'm demonstrating ability to paraphrase. The bar chart depicts the transport. Okay, let me not put it that way. Let me readjust something here. The preferences of youths in 4 countries for 3 modes of transportation in a particular year. Can you see my first sentence? In my first sentence, I've presented the what. You must always present the what. In this case, what is the what? The transportation preference of young people, the transportation preferences of youths. When I say what, WHAT, what I mean is what? What is that chart about? What is the key issue that chart presents? This chart here is telling us what young people prefer to use as what? Mode of transport. What is the key issue here for this particular chart about India? Is about the key issue here is what? The contribution of different sectors to India's GDP. That is the key issue here. Okay, so that's what I mean by what. Your first sentence must always present the what, the main issue. Okay, of course, you will do that whenever as you are writing your paraphrase of the question prompt. It's always going to, that what component of your introduction is always inside the question prompt. Always. The main issue is always inside the question prompt. Now, what is the next sentence? For my next sentence, I'm going to talk about the categories. Okay? So what are the categories here? We have two sets of categories here. The countries are France, Italy, the United States, and the United Kingdom. And the modes of transport and the forms, I want to change it to forms. And the forms of transportation, let me change the word transportation. The forms of commuting represented are as follows: car, motorcycle, and bicycle. Full stop. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my word. That is my introduction for this word, for this bar chart. Okay? Hope you are following me. Look at the next one. This is a pie chart. We have two pie charts here. What is my introduction here? The pie charts, presents the outcome of a survey on the things that make individuals of different age group. Let me make some adjustments here. I want to do some editing to my sentence here. The pie chart presents the outcome. The pie charts, this is S plural. So that means this my present should be plural also. Let me remove the S. The pie charts present the outcome of a survey on the things that let me see, this thing says what result of a survey about what people of different age groups say make them most happy. Okay, the things, I want to put something here. The things that are mostly responsible for the happiness of individuals across different age groups. Okay? Individuals across what? Individuals across so we have just two age groups here. Two different age groups. So I'm going to put a colon here, and then I'll write the two age groups. People over 30 years and people under 30 years. That's my words. That's my first sentence. Then I'll write a second sentence, okay, and mention these categories in the pie charts. Okay, the outcomes, or let's say the different things represented are represented are hobbies, work achievements, spending time with family, traveling, and traveling, good appearance, and financial security. Okay, I've mentioned the categories. So you see the pattern here. Have you seen the pattern? Paraphrase the question prompt. That's number one. Number two, mention the main issue. In this case, the main issue is what? What makes people happy? Number three, if there is a date, year, sometimes they'll mention year. Mention the year. Tell us the timeline. Number four, mention the categories. And number five, if there is a unit of measurement, mention the unit of measurement. So in this case now, usually when you have percentages, you do something like this, you write something like this. The information is presented in percentages. That helps us to present the word, the units. Okay, the same thing here. I will put something like this. The data, we can say the data is presented in percentages. Okay, the data, same thing with this one now. This one too. The data is presented in what? Percentages. Okay, same thing with this first one. So I think there's one more. All right, let me do this last one, and I will move to overview. So how do we write our introduction for this one? The pie charts, the pie charts the pie charts presents the main reasons why students enrolled to study in a particular university in the United Kingdom in 1997 and 2007. Okay? This is my word, my first sentence. And then I'll write the second sentence to highlight these reasons. Okay? The reasons are as follows. Quality of resources, suitable degree courses, proximity to their parents' home, quality of teaching, and good sports and social activities. Okay? Good sports and what? Social activities. Let me remove my S, this S here. So, introduction. You see the pattern for introduction. Now, after the introduction, what is the next thing to do? The next thing to do is to what? Is to write the overview. What do you do in your overview? For writing your overview, you present the overall trend. Okay? In writing your overview, what do? You present the overall trend, or you highlight the biggest and smallest categories, or you do both. Let me write it out for you here. In writing your overview, present the overall trend. Or let me put it this way. Present the highlights, the trends for all or majority of the categories, or mention the largest and smallest values, or mention the categories with the largest and smallest value. So this thing here is something that you can use as a guide for writing your word, for writing your overview. Okay? And that's what I'm going to follow here now. So in writing my overview here, let me delete this thing here. In writing my overview here, we have three categories. So I will just present the trend. Usually for line graph, I just use trend. So I'll say that what overall, there was a general increase in household recycling rates in Germany and the United Kingdom, whereas there was a decline in France, in that of France. That's my overview for this what? For this particular line graph overview. Okay? Okay, so how do we write our overview for this bar charts? Remember the pattern again. Highlight the trends for all or majority of the categories, or mention the categories with the largest and smallest value. Okay, so for this line graph, the pattern I used is what? I just talked about the trend. What is the trend here? General increase. Trend means you use words like increase, decrease, fluctuate, stable. Those are words that represent trend. I like to call it language of trend. Okay. Now for this one, I can use the first one of highlighting the overall trend, or I can use the majority, but I prefer to use trend here. I will use something called language of trend. Now, let me just say something quickly about that. Whenever it comes to bar charts, pie charts, table, or combination charts, you can either use language of comparison only, or you can use language of comparison and language of trend. Or so these are the two possibilities that can help you to write a qualitative report. This thing I'm saying is going to show up when we start writing the main body. Please follow closely. I hope you guys are still with me. If you are still with me, let me see your message in the Zoom chat. Let me know who is still following me. If you are still following me, please, I want you to type in the Zoom chat and say, yes, I am with you. Yes, I am hearing you. Yes, I am following you. Let me know who is following me. Let me know who is following me. Very good. Thank you very much. So this issue of language is very, very important. Keep it in mind. So if I have only one date or no date, that's when I use language of comparison. If the chart has just one date, or if it does not have any date, that's when you use what? Language of comparison. But if the chart has two or more dates, you use language of comparison and language of trend. Two or more dates. So if I see that a bar chart or a pie chart or a table has two or more dates, what do I use? I will use both language of comparison and language of trend. Preferably, I like to emphasize, or I like to prioritize language of trend. In such cases, whenever I see that we have two or more dates, I like to prioritize. It's good to prioritize language of trend. Now, let me write my overview based on that idea. So I'll say that what? Overall. So look at it. Let's look for the trend here. When we say trend, you look for the ones that increased. So let me ask you guys, let me see who is following. I want you to study this chart closely. Tell me, which sector increased? Which sector increased? Which sector increased? Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at this chart closely. Let me make it as big as possible. I think it's big enough like this. Tell me, which sector increased during this period from 1960 to 2000? Which of the three sectors had an increase in its contribution to GDP? Which of the three sectors reported an increase in its contribution throughout? Which of the sectors increased? Increased means rose. Increased, rose. Okay? I don't want to say skyrocketed. Some people also say skyrocketed. Okay. Somebody says services. Okay, let's check. So services is the one with the faint color. So services in 1960 was about 17%. Okay. 1970, it increased to 23%. That's correct. 1980, it increased further to 28%. 1990, it increased to 40 something. Wow, very good. You are correct. Services, the contribution of services sector increased. I'm going to mention that in my overview. What of industry? The next color. The industry is the one in the middle. So look at industry here. It was about, let's say maybe 16.5% in 1960. It increased in 1970, increased in 1980, remained constant in 1990, constant in 2000. So industry also increased, but then it became stable. Okay? What of agriculture? Agriculture reduced throughout. You can see agriculture is the first one. Agriculture reduced throughout. You can see that the bar for agriculture is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That shows that the contribution of agriculture reduced during the period. Okay? So let me use that to write my overview. I will say that what? Overall, there was an increase in the contributions of services sector and industry sector during the period, while that of what? Agriculture reduced. Full stop. That's my overview. There was a what? There was an increase. This word represents what? Language of trend. While that of agriculture reduced. This word represents what? Language of trend. Now, let me write a sentence that represents language of comparison. Also, agriculture, the agriculture sector made the largest contribution at the beginning of the period. But at the end, the services sector made the what? Largest contribution. To India's GDP. Okay? At the beginning of the period. So see my overview. My overview here has two sentences. One sentence uses the language of comparison, largest. Okay? Largest. Can you see what I mean by language of comparison? Let's write overview for this one. Overall. Now, for this chart, what language are we to use? This chart does not have any dates. So based on this rule that I gave you here, what are we to do? We are to use language of comparison only for this chart because there is no date. This is what I wrote here. If there is one date or there is no date, if there is no date on your chart, then you should use what? Language of comparison only. What does that mean? What it means is that you cannot say that the preference for car increased. If you say that the preference for car fluctuated, some people say, okay, it fluctuated. It was stable and then it came down, then it went up. So they will say it fluctuated. If you say that the preference for car fluctuated, you have used the wrong language. You cannot use the word fluctuates in this chart. You cannot use the word increased. You cannot use the word reduce. It's not allowed. Why? Because this chart has just one date. Nothing is increasing here. Nothing is reducing and nothing is fluctuating. So in this case, what I'm going to do is that what? I am going to use the second approach for writing my overview. mention the categories with the largest and smallest values. That's the approach I'm going to use. So look at it here. Overall, car was the most preferred means of transportation among youths in 3 countries, while bicycles, while bicycle was the most preferred in the fourth. Can you see my overview? Most preferred. What does that mean? What does that represent? That represents language of what? Language of comparison. Language of comparison. You see that I did not say anything like increase, decrease, fluctuate, stable. Why didn't I say that? Because there's no date on this chart. You can't see, I mean, we have just one. Is it that we say there is no date here, or we say that there's just one date? There's a place here that says single year, so it's just 1 year. Everything here there's nothing that is increasing. Everything happened in 1 year, so nothing is increasing. Okay, so that's my overview for this one. This one, next one is okay. I wrote TH twice here. Let me write my overview for this question. Let me reduce the size of this thing. Overall, so let's look at this chart closely. Let's look for the biggest figures. Among people under 30, which activity, which factor, let me use that word, which factor made the largest contribution to happiness? According to this chart, who can tell me? For people under 30, which factor made the largest contribution? Or let's say, which factor was the most common? I think that's more appropriate. It's not about contribution here. Which factor was the most common thing that made people happy? Which factor was the most common? Who can tell me? I want you to type your answer in the chat box. Which factor was the most common in terms of things that make people happy? For people under 30. For people under 30, which factor was the most common? Which factor was the most common contributor to what? Happiness. Aha, I like that. The factor that was the most common contributor to happiness. What is that? Thank you. Achievement at work. That's it. 31%. 31%. You can see that it's bigger than all the others. 31%. And then you can see that it's also the same thing for people over 30. So I'll just use that as my overview. So I'll say that word. Overall, instead of saying achievement at work, we can paraphrase achievement at work. It sounds like you can paraphrase it. But it's not all cases that you can paraphrase things like this. Let me just highlight that. But this case, you can actually paraphrase it and say, okay, instead of saying achievement at work, you can say career achievements. Overall, career achievements contributed largely, or let's put it this way, career achievements made the largest contribution to the happiness of individuals in both age groups. In both what? Age groups. Career achievement made the largest contribution. Okay? I'm looking at this thing again. The chart below shows the result of a survey about what people of different age groups say makes them happy. Okay? Career achievements. So 31% career achievements, hobbies, doing hobbies. Okay, so career achievement is responsible for what? For the happiness of 31% of the respondents. Okay, that's what this percentage figures. That's what this percentage figure, yeah, that's what it means. Career achievement at work is responsible for the what? Achievement at work is responsible for the what? For the happiness of what? 31% of the people that responded to this survey who are under 30. Then the last one, what is our overview here? Here, let me see who has been following me so far. What language am I going to use for this pie chart question? Am I to use language of comparison only, or am I to use both language of comparison and language of trend? Who can tell me? Am I to use language of comparison only, or am I to use both language of comparison and language of trend? Anybody who wants to give it a try? What language are we to use for this chart? Language of comparison only or language of comparison and trend? Thank you very much. We are going to use both. We are to use both. And the reason is that what? We have two dates, 1997 and 2007. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our overview. I will say that what? In using both, I will prioritize trend. Remember what I said I did for the other one? I prioritized trend. So, I'm going to look closely at that chart. I will look for the categories that increased. I will look for the categories that increased. Let's start with the green one. The green one reduced. You can see that the green one reduced. Green represents good sport and social activities. The purple one, I think this is purple. Purple. So I don't know, is it fuchsia pink? Whatever. Quality of resources, it reduced. What of the next one? 35, 37, this one increased. That's suitable degree courses. So this one increased. The next one, color red, it increased. Orange increased. So 1, 2, 3, pink, red, orange increased. Okay? Pink, red, orange increased. Now, I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to do now. Because the way you construct your sentences matter a lot. In this case now, how do we construct our sentences? It's not the thing that they have written for us here, the categories here are not straightforward. It's not like Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Kenya, Zimbabwe. Maybe population, you now say population of XYZ increase. That's not what we have here. What we have here is what? The reason why students chose a university. The reasons why students chose a university. Do you get that? That is what this chart represents. So what do we say? We're going to say that what overall, there was an increase in the proportion of students that chose the university because of what? Pink. Because of availability of suitable degree courses, proximity to parental home, and quality of teaching. Can you see the way I've written this my sentence? Look at it closely. There was an increase in the what? In the proportion of students that chose the university because of what? And then I mentioned these things here. Availability. This thing here, it basically means what? Availability of what? A suitable degree. That's what it means. If you are saying suitable degree course, what it means is that what? I'm picking that university because there's a suitable degree course for me there. That's why I'm picking it. That's what this thing means. Same thing with this number one too. Quality of resources. Because of the word quality of resources or availability of what? Quality resources. You see the way I'm adjusting my sentences. Is it that you say because of the quality of the resources there, or you can say because of the availability of quality resources. English, you need to be able to what? Demonstrate good grammar. Now, there was an increase. Yes, this is what? Language of what? Trend. And then the next one, I will not talk about the ones that reduced. So, color green and color purple. However, there was a decline in the fraction of those who chose the school due to the quality of its resources and the availability of good sports and social activities. Ladies and gentlemen, can you see? What's it called? Overview. So in this my overview, I have used the word language of what? Trend. Okay? Now, let me construct another sentence. After this, however, there should be a comma. We call this rule, comma rule, we call it introductory word. That's the comma rule that we're applying here. Now, let me write a sentence that reflects what? Language of comparison. So for language of comparison, I'll look for the biggest figure. The biggest figure in both years. That's suitable courses. Okay. Also, the suitable degree courses stands out as the most common reason for choosing the university. Okay, as the most common reasons, as the most common reason in both 1997 and 2007. Most common reason. So I'll put a comma to mark it off. We call this thing a non-restrictive clause. Okay? I think it's better we call it a positive. Also, suitable degree courses stands out as the most common reason in both 1997 and 2007 for choosing the word, the university. Overview. Okay, so I've written overview for everything. I've written introduction for everything. Now the next thing I will do is now the word, is now the main body. So in writing your main body, what do? You describe, you start with the biggest figure. Okay? To write the main body of your report, let me type out the approach to make your work easy. So those of you that said that main body is somewhat problematic for you, I want you to follow closely now. We are now getting to the main issue. Describe the chart in detail, starting with the what? Largest, starting with the category that has the largest figure. Starting with the category that has the largest figure at the beginning. Or the category that has the what? Smallest figure. I like to start with the largest one actually, most times. I like to start with the largest one. So I will describe how that category changed all through, and afterwards move to the next category. And afterwards do what? Move to the next category. That's how I'm going to write my main body. Okay? That's how I'm going to write my main body. Now, I'm going to start with that last pie chart. I'm going to write my overview for this pie chart. Look at it. I'm going to write my main body for this pie chart. So, let me put this. There's something here. I'll just put inverted comma to indicate that what this is actually a reason. Now, main body. In 1997, so remember what I said, I will start with the largest. What is largest here? This pink one, that's suitable degree courses. In 1997, the majority of students that enrolled at the university chose that school, chose that institution because it had suitable degree courses Okay? The figure reported was 31%. 31%. By, sorry, is it 31? It's actually 35, not 31. 35%. By 2007, there was a slight increase to what? To 37%. And with this, it's still maintained its leading position compared to the other reasons. And with this, it still maintained its what? Leading position. That means it was the major reason. It was the reason that majority of students gave. Okay? Now, after talking about suitable courses, let me ask everybody, what is the next thing I'll talk about? Let me show you guys. Let me make it bigger. After talking about suitable degree courses, color pink, what is the next thing I'm going to talk about if I want to, write? Notice that I'm starting with 1997. Some people will start with 2007. That's bad. You start with the older year. You start with the older, older. 1997 is older than 2007. Okay? So you start with the older year and then you move forward. You go forward in life. Okay? So I've talked about this pink one, 35%, and then I said it increased to 37%. Which one am I going to pick next? Let me see who's going to get the correct answer. Which one am I going to pick next? Anybody who wants to tell me which one am I going to talk about? Which one am I going to write about next? Which reason? Which reason? Am I going to write about this red one or this orange one or this what? Green one or this purple one? Which one am I going to write about next? Anybody? Let me see. I want you guys to give me your answer. Let me be sure you guys are following me. Oh. Somebody says purple. Another person says purple. I guessed as much. I guess that people will say purple. Now, let me tell you why it's wrong to say purple. Well, some people might say it's okay to say purple, but for me, I think it's not right to say purple. Why? Because purple reduced during the period. Purple, the figure for purple reduced. And for this, my paragraph, this my main body. What I started it with is I started with a category that increased. So the ideal thing to maintain cohesion, I should talk about the category that increased until I finish all of them. So I shouldn't start with purple. I shouldn't move on to purple yet. Let's leave purple alone. What I should move on to is let me look for another one that increased. And that is going to be this orange one. That's 15. 35 followed by 15. And then 10 will be the last one. Okay? So the next one I'm going to write about for me to show that I want to maintain the pattern of talking about the ones that increased. Good cohesion, that's good cohesion, is to write about the orange one. So I will say that word. Similarly. Can you see the way I've written it? Similarly. Okay? The proportion of students that chose the university because of the quality of its teaching increased from 15% in, let me reduce this thing, let me show you, from what? From 15% in 1997 to 18%. From 15% in 1997 to 18% in 2007. And those who chose it because of, let me reduce the size so that I can fit everything into this page. And those who chose the institution So this red one is going to be proximity to parental home, okay? Those who chose the institution because it was close to their family home increased from what? Let's see, increased from 10%, 10% in 1997, increased from 10% to what? 22%. Okay? Can you see that? Now, let me construct a sentence to reflect something about this 10%. You can see that 10% is the smallest figure for 1997. So I'm going to write something for that. Meanwhile, this the fraction of students that chose the university because of the proximity to parental home was the lowest in what? 1997. Okay? This thing here is what I call what? Language of word comparison. I'm comparing. You're going to see, they're going to write is that what? They will say, make comparison. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. And make comparisons where relevant. That's what I'm trying to do here. By saying that something is the lowest, that's comparison. By saying that something is the, where's that one that says the majority of students? Okay? I'm using what? Language of word comparison. So I've written this whole paragraph here is about what? It's about the categories that increased. Okay? In contrast, now I want to write about the categories that reduced. So what will I say? How will I start that paragraph? I'm going to move to a new paragraph now, and I'll write that word. In contrast, there was a decline. Or let me put it this way. The proportion of students that enrolled at the university because of what? Because it had good sports and social activities, reduced from what? 19%. Yes, 19% to what? From 19% to what? 6%. Making this the least common reason for enrolling in the school in what? 2007. Can you see language of what? Language of, what is the meaning of least common reason? Is it language of trend or language of comparison? Who can tell me? Least common reason. What does that represent? Does it represent language of trend or language of comparison? Least common reason. What does it represent? Anybody? Thank you. Language of comparison. So this reduced represent what? Language of trend. Can you see the way I'm using both language of trend and language of comparison? Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you structure your report. You must take time to study the charts, look for the categories that increased, look for the categories that reduced, and then, you follow through like that. So I've written about the color green, which is good sports, and then let's look at the purple one now. Let me give you guys this one to do as an exercise. Everybody, let's write. I want you to write the final sentence for this report. The final sentence is going to be about the quality of resources. Let's see. Who wants to write? I want you to write and type in the Zoom chat. I want you to type and write in the Zoom chat. Type a sentence to represent this one, this purple whatever, this purple sector. We call it sector in mathematics. Write a sentence to reflect this purple sector. Okay? Remember that you are going to put that sentence after this. You are going to put that sentence in this paragraph. So you must you must start with a word that links it to this first sentence. Okay? You must start with a word. It's a word like this, but I don't want you to use similarly. Use another word. Don't use similarly. Use another word. I'm waiting. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'm waiting. I want you to write a sentence to reflect the change that we saw for the quality of resources. Quality of resources. Yes, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, who's going to do it for us? Or should I say who has done it? Are you guys writing? Okay, let me wait for 60 more seconds. I just need just one sentence, so that's all I need. Just one sentence. Just one sentence to add to this last paragraph. Just one sentence. That's what I need. I need just one sentence to reflect what? The purple line. Quality of resources. How will you write it? I want you guys to do it. I want you guys to write it. Let's use that as our quick classwork. Let's use that as our quick classwork. Okay, I can see something here. I can see a response here. Somebody says, however. Oh, no, you cannot start with however. Because however means you want to write that, what's it called? You want to write something opposite to what you wrote before. But what you want to write now is similar to what you wrote before. So you cannot say however. Okay, that's error one. The person said, however, the quality of service, no, the quality of service did not reduce. The thing that reduced is the the proportion of students. The proportion of students that chose the school because of quality of resources. The quality of resources did not reduce. This is part of the things that you need to pay attention to when constructing your sentences. Okay? Let me say that again. The quality of resources did not reduce. Okay? The thing that reduced is the what? The percentage of students that chose the school because of quality of resources. That's what this chart is about. This chart is about why did students choose a school? Why did students choose a school? Why did students choose a school? That's what we have on the chart. Okay? So that's the problem, second problem with your response. So basic quality of service. It's not even quality of service, it's quality of resources. That's the third problem. Decreased over the years. You can't say over the years because we have just 2 years here. You don't have figures for 1998. You don't have figures for 1999. You don't have figures for 2000. So you cannot say over the years. You don't know what happened in those years in between 1997 and 2007. You notice that I did not use that thing over the years in my answers for this particular chart. Why? Because you don't have anything for 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. You don't have figures for those years. So you can't say over the years. Just say that word. It decreased in 2007 compared to 1997. That's okay. Okay, so there are so many errors with this your response. All right, let me type my answer. Let me type my answer so that we can move on to another. I want to try and see if you can write the remaining charts. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm seeing one answer here. Let me see. In the same way, very good. I like that. That's a very good linking, that's a very good linking phrase. In the same way, okay, the proportion of students who chose, maybe I should even copy this thing out so that you guys can see it in case you are not seeing it. So this is the first response, response 1, okay, and then this is the second response in case you are not seeing it, response 2. So this is second response I'm reading now. So this person says what? In the same way, this is a very good linker that we can add to this place. So I can say in the same way, or I can say likewise, likewise, in like manner, likewise. The proportion of students who chose, so this one should be chose, past, because it's past tense. Chose. Notice I used, I want you to notice that I used enrolled. Where is it now? Look at it. Past tense. Enrolled. Enrolled. Past tense. Chose. Past tense. These are little mistakes that will result in low marks. Chose. Past tense. Okay? Chose. Past tense. I did not say choose. Choose is present tense. Enrolled. Okay? So you cannot say choose. In the same way, the proportion of students who chose the school because of the quality of resources slightly reduced from 21% to 17%. You see this thing that you wrote here is not necessary. Why is it not necessary? Because we already know that you are comparing 2000 to what? 1997. You already have it from the beginning. Okay, but if you want to put it, this is how to put it. You can't do it this way. What you should say is what? Reduce from 21% in 1997 to 17% in, so I'm going to remove this respectively, to 17% in what? In 2007. This is how you write it. Hope you understand. So let's put it here. So we said that what? In the same way, the proportion, I don't want to use proportion because I have used proportion here. I've used proportion here. So yeah, I'm going to say, let me say percentage. I think I've used fraction somewhere too. So I'll say the percentage of students that chose the school because of the what? Quality of its resources slightly reduced from 21% in 1997 to what? 17% in 2007. Full stop. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for what? For this pie chart report. Okay? That's all for this pie chart report. I've written the introduction, overview, okay? Main body. This my main body has two parts. One part talks about the categories that what? Increased. And then the other part talks about the categories that what? That reduced. Hope you get the gist. I hope you guys are still with me. Let me know if you are still with me. Let me see. I want you to drop a message. Let me know if you are still following me. Just type in the Zoom chat and say, yes, I am with you. Yes, I am with you. Yes, I am with you. Very good. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Okay, Vicky, I can see your message. Thank you very much. I hope Vicky, I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. I think I made a correction with one of your answers the other time. I hope you understand my explanation. Now, let's write for this one. Main body. We follow a different pattern here. The pattern we're going to follow here is what? We're going to be using language of comparison. You can't be saying, look at it, for example, now. Look at this thing here. Let me make this bigger. You cannot say that there was an increase in doing hobbies. Some people will look at this and they will say that doing hobbies increased from 22% to 24%. That's bad sentence construction. Some people will say having a good appearance, okay, having a good appearance is only showing up on this side. It's not showing up here. Traveling is only showing up here. It's not showing up here. So you can see some things are showing up here. They are not here. Okay, so let's focus on the ones that you cannot say that other factors reduced from 14% to 10%. That's not good sentence construction. You are not working. You should work with the context of the story. The story is that what? The result of a survey about what makes people happy. That is the context. So what you are going to be saying is that what? The fraction of people that are happy, okay? The fraction of people under 30 that are happy is what? 22%. That's better. Okay? Whereas the fraction of people above 30 years who are happy when doing hobbies because of doing hobbies is what? 24%. That's better than that one of saying that doing hobbies reduced or increased. But anyhow, now let's write our main body. So what I'm going to do here is that what I'm going to look for the biggest figures. Okay? I'm going to look for the word for the biggest figures for under 30. So what is the biggest figure for under 30? Achievement at work. Okay, so to start with, a little, or let's just say about 1/3, 31% of individuals below 30 years indicated achievement at work made the biggest contribution to their what? Happiness. And a similar fraction of 32% was reported among individuals above what? 30 years. Can you see that? That's my what? So I picked achievement at work. You can see that achievement at work is the biggest thing here. It's also the biggest thing here. So, I mean, I just picked the two and I wrote about the two. Remember what I said earlier on that word? Start with the biggest figures. So I'm using style 2 here. Where is it now? Main body. Okay? Start with the word. The category that has the largest, no, okay, style 1. Start with the category that has the largest figure. The category that has largest what? The largest figure. So the one with the largest figure is what? Is achievement at work. And notice I did not say that word. To start with, achievement at work was 31% among people under 30. I did not say that. I did not say that achievement at work was 31% among people under. That's bad sentence construction. The proper way to construct that sentence is that what? To start with, 31% of the respondents, that's another way, 31% of the respondents indicated that what? 31% of people under 30 years indicated that what? Achievement at work made the largest contribution to the world, to their happiness. And then you can see that the figure is close, 32% for people above what? Above 30. So ladies and gentlemen, which is the next category I'm going to talk about? Of course, I'm going to move back to these people under 30. Okay, that's what I'm going to move back to. So which one should I talk about now? Ladies and gentlemen, who wants to tell me? Let's pick hobbies. Because looking at these charts, you can see that, what's it called now? Achievement at work is the largest here. Followed by what? Doing hobbies. And then I'm looking at these other ones. So you can see that doing hobbies is also a major factor here. So I'm going to take the two simultaneously in the next sentence. Okay? So I'll say that word. Hobbies also make, I think I should use present simple tense because there is no date on this chart. So let me look at my chart. I'm looking at everything I've written so far. The pie chart represents the outcome of a survey. So I'm guessing that the survey was done in the past. So using the word made is still, I think I'm still in line. So hobbies also made a huge contribution to people's happiness, with 22% of the under 30s indicating that Okay, let me readjust that sentence. Hobbies also made a huge contribution to people's happiness. I'm not going to put a colon here. 22% of individuals, or let's say people, below 30 years and 24% of people above 30 years indicated that doing hobbies, let's paraphrase. I want to give you a paraphrase here. Engaging in leisure activities made the what? Biggest or the largest contribution to their what? Happiness. Okay? That's the second, what's it called? The second chart. Now, next one is, what else is here that is, what else is in the two charts? Other factors. These other factors refers to every other thing. Okay, so I have written about items that are found in both achievement at work, doing hobbies, doing hobbies. Traveling is here, traveling is not here. It's replaced with being in family here. Having good appearance is here, financial security is replacing it here. So I'm going to treat these two in the next paragraph. So let me treat this 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll treat them in the next paragraph. Let me treat other factors in this paragraph here. Other unspecified factors made the least contribution to the happiness of individuals in both groups. 14% for those under 30, and what? 10% for those above 30. Now, I want to talk about the ones that are not represented on both sides. Okay? Meanwhile, certain reasons highlighted, or let's adjust that. Meanwhile, for individuals, for people below 30 years, having a good appearance for people below 30 years, okay? So my figure here is 18%. So I'm going to put 18% at the front here. 18% of them indicated that having a good appearance was mostly responsible for their what? Happiness. And a slightly lower figure of 18% indicated or responded that traveling made the largest contribution to their what? Level of happiness. For those above 30 years, financial security accounted for the happiness of 1/5 of the respondents, and a lower fraction of 14% indicated that their happiness. Let me use another word for happiness. Their sense of joy and gladness came primarily from spending time with their words. With their words. Who can tell me? Came primarily from what? Spending time with their words. With their family, or we can say with their loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, what have I done? I have basically described what is on these two pie charts. If you say, sir, I am confused, I don't know what to say, you need to ask a specific question. If you don't ask a specific question, I won't be able to help you. So you need to ask a specific question. Okay? What have I done? What I've done is that word I wrote about, okay, let me pick my highlighter here. I wrote about achievements at work. Doing hobbies showed up in both sides. Doing hobbies is here, doing hobbies is here. Achievement at work is here, achievement at work is here. Other factors is here, other factors is here. I wrote about those three things in paragraph 3. Okay? That's what I wrote about in paragraph 3. And then the stuffs, the other stuffs, I wrote about them in paragraph 4. Having good appearance, you can see that there's nothing here that says having good appearance. So I wrote about it. Having good appearance. Where is it? Having a good appearance. You can see that it's here. Having a good appearance. That's what I wrote about next. And then traveling. Traveling. You can see traveling here. And then I moved on to people over 30. Financial security and then being with family. That's what I've just done. I just described the word. I just described the chart. That's what we did, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So you have a question. Okay, let's see. Vicky, what is your question? What is your question, Vicky?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
So you once said in the lesson you taught us before that if you are dealing with pie chart that has two dates, like we're going to use comparison
Eh.
and language search. So you said for the first one, for the first
Vicky,
pie chart.
Vicky, hold on. This chart I'm writing on, how many days do we have here?
No. I'm also my questions. I want to ask about the first one you did,
Hey,
and
you
this
are
other
taking
one.
on. So yeah, first of all, ask about this one, please. Don't confuse people. Ask about this
Okay,
one
sir.
first. Thank you.
You said if you are dealing with Basha, we should go for the one that is highest. We can do it two ways. That will talk about the highest, then in the second paragraph talk about the one that is low. But I realized that in this one now you talked about career achievements, hobbies, and also others those others are low. So that's why I was confused. That I thought you said we should first deal with the
No,
one that are high.
there's no confusion here. Did I talk about the one that is high first? Did I?
Yes, you talked about hobbies. Then in the same
Hold on,
paragraph,
hold
you
on,
talked
hold on,
about
hold
others.
on. Just answer yes or no to my questions. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Did I write about the biggest category first? That's what I did. Achievement at work. Do you
Yes.
agree with that?
Yes.
After achievement at work, which one follows? Hobbies. Is that not the one that follows?
Yes, sir.
So you can see that I'm coming down. I'm going down. Now, which one should follow normally after 22%? It should be 18%. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
From this under 30. But you cannot pick 18%. Why? Because the trend for 18% is different. You cannot see anything for good appearance on the second chart. Is there anything for good appearance for people over 30? Is it there?
No.
It's not there. And I explained it. I explained it when I was talking. I don't know whether you were following me, but I explained it. That word. Since there's nothing for good appearance here, we should leave it. Let's look for the one that is in both sides and treat them in one paragraph. Look for the ones that are in both pie charts and treat them in what? In one paragraph. That's what I said. Do you understand
Okay,
now?
sir.
So this pie
Yes, sir.
chart question here is different from the one that we did earlier on. This one is different from this one. This one you have green, green is the same thing. Purple, purple is the same thing. Pink, pink is the so that one is very straightforward from the guideline I gave you earlier on that you are referring to. Do you understand now? But for this one here now, we are seeing some things here that are not here. We are seeing some things in these people over 30 that are not for people under 30. We are seeing some things for people under 30 that are not in people over 30. So what do we do? We need to find a way to make sure that we maintain good cohesion. And the pattern, the approach that I've used is what? Okay, let me look for the ones that are found in both pie charts. So I picked achievement at work, doing hobbies, and other factors, and I treated them in this word, in this paragraph here. And after that, I now moved to the word. I now moved to the ones that are not in both pie charts. Having a good appearance, you can see it's the biggest one. You can see I started with that one that is the biggest one in this first pie chart. I always start with the first pie chart. You see, I did not start with this one, even though this one is 20%. Because it's the second one. It's good to always start with the first one because that's just basic common sense. Start with the first pie chart. So I started with this first pie chart, 18%. I came to traveling, 15%. And then when I came here, which one did I start with? For these people over 30, Vicky, which one did I start with?
Financial,
Why did I start
financial
with financial security?
was the largest.
Because it's bigger. So you can see that I still follow that pattern somehow, somehow. I still followed it. But I made sure that what for the categories that are found in both sides, we treated them together. And for the categories that are not found in both sides, we treated them together. That's how we demonstrated what? Good cohesion. So once in a while, you're going to see charts like this that look confusing. Okay? Don't let anything confuse you. What you just need to do is what? Sit down, relax yourself, and look for the pattern. Hope you get my point. Look for the pattern, look for similarities. There will always be similarities between the categories. And then write about those similarities. I hope you understand better now.
Yes, sir.
So let's go back to that your first question that you wanted to ask. So what's that your first question?
Okay. You said if we have two pie charts with different dates, that we can first deal with the first pie charts, like that first one. Let's say the 1997, we deal with it in the first paragraph.
Mhm.
Then the second paragraph, we not start comparing. We not start comparing.
I did not, did I
So,
say
but I
that?
realized
When did I say that?
I thought that was what you said in your last class that
No,
we should
no.
deal with the
That this thing that
first
you
pie
just
chart.
said now, some people do it. It's okay. There's no crime in it. But in this particular class I taught now, I did not use that pattern. Do you understand? There is
Yes, sir.
nothing wrong with that method that you are referring to. You can also use it. Okay? But this one that I've taught today is also another method to use. This method is also applicable. You can use any one you want. Do you get my point now? The idea is that we are going to see different styles and patterns. The idea is that pick one pattern and practice it and get used to it. Me, I can use the two patterns anyhow, anywhere because I'm familiar with all of them. But as a student, as a candidate, I just want to write this thing and get over with it. Just pick one and master it very well. And I mean, you now go and use that same pattern if you see that kind of question on the exam day. That's what do you understand my point now?
Yes, sir.
So if I want to use that pattern that you are referring to, so what I will just do is that what I will write about 1997. I will start with 35% suitable degree courses, and then I'll move down to this purple one, then the 19%, then the 15%, then the 10%. Then I'll move to what 2007, and I mean, so that one is possible. It happens. You understand now? But you see, this one, that one can be done. This one also can be done. Nobody will lose marks for using any of the two. As long as you use all those languages of what? Increased, decreased, least common, most common. As long as you use those words correctly, and you quote your figures correctly, you are still going to be on the right track. I hope it's clear.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other question? Vicky, do you have any other question? Is that all? Okay. I guess that's all. She has gone off. So, ladies and gentlemen, because of our time, I'm going to wrap it up on that. So this, I have done 2 pie charts here now. I think what I'll do is that I'm going to drop this bar chart. I'll drop this bar charts for you guys to do as assignments. Okay. Um, I'm going to drop these bar charts for you guys to do as assignment. That will be your assignment for today. So I want you to take time. I'm going to post this. I'll post this entire lesson, this PDF file. I'll post it in the group also for you to look at again. I will also share the link to this recording with you so that you can watch it. And then I'm going to give you, you are going to write this, you're going to finish this line graph. You're going to finish the bar charts, this bar chart and this second bar chart. That's going to be your assignment for today. If you have any question, feel free to message me in the WhatsApp group, or just drop something for me in my DM. I'm going to respond to your questions as soon as I can. So thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.